If you enjoyed podcasts like this, you should check out our other shows on Health Podcast Network. For example, Hopeful Hints, hosted by Dr. Tara, guides and supports those on the often challenging and isolating journey of women's health concerns and infertility. There's a particularly powerful episode that you should check out called All Things Endometriosis, which dives deep into understanding the condition to help the many women who suffer from endometriosis and have no idea they have it, and healthcare providers who are uneducated about it, making the diagnosis process so difficult. Check out Hopeful Hints on your favorite podcast platform or visit healthpodcastnetwork.com.
Hey there, leading ladies. Welcome to the Women Physicians Lead podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Lisa Herbert, a 2-time best-selling author, speaker, family physician, and executive leadership coach with over 20 years experience of providing primary care and serving as a healthcare leader. If you are a woman physician ready to make a change in your career and have a seat at the leadership table, then you are in the right place. I'm excited to provide you with the crucial skills you need to be a successful leader and strategies to deal with workplace challenges. So put on your headphones and listen as we explore the new world of building women physician leaders. Are you feeling burnt out from the relentless demands of your current position? Do you find yourself questioning if this is truly the career path you want to continue? Are you longing for a purpose-driven career that reignites your passion and brings balance to your life? I'm Dr. Lisa, your host and executive coach, here to guide you through the process of discovering a fulfilling and purpose-driven career. Imagine waking up every day excited about your work, having more time for yourself and your loved ones, and making a meaningful impact in a way that aligns with your values. It's possible, and it all starts with a simple step. I specialize in helping physicians discover their purpose, get clear on their career goals, and prepare for the next best leadership role. This is why I'm offering for a limited time my Career Reinvention Audit Session, designed to provide you with a 30-day roadmap for reinventing your career and thriving as a leader. Click the link in the show notes to schedule your call today. I can't wait to help you thrive. Welcome to another episode of the Women Physicians Lead podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lisa, and I am here to help you on your journey to reinventing your career and discovering the next best leadership role for you. So today I am talking about avoiding the mistakes when you're thinking about exploring a new career or you're thinking about just reinventing your career. So in today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 mistakes to avoid when exploring a career reinvention. So as you know, I have been focusing this year on the word transition. And that is transition in life and career and family and in relationships. And as it relates to leadership, there is a period of time where there will be a transition, where you will go through a change, where you will have to, sort of be comfortable being uncomfortable. And when you encounter that, you want to be able to avoid common pitfalls. You want to be able to avoid mistakes, obviously, along the way that may prevent you from advancing and prevent you from actually attaining your goal. So we talked about in this podcast transition on several levels. If you're following the podcast, then you know back in episode 55, we talked about navigating life transitions. In episode 56, we talked about grief and growth, grief actually being a part of a transition sometimes, grieving what we have left behind, and also the pain sometimes of growing into something new. In episode 58, we had an amazing guest, Dr. Surya, who shared with us her leadership journey and her story of transition. And then in episode 60, we talked about navigating the transition from feeling stuck. So again, today we're going to be moving and talking about some of the things that I want to share with you that you can avoid when thinking about exploring a new career or thinking about moving into a leadership role. And believe me, I have had my own share of mistakes. I have had my own share of challenges. I have had my own share of pitfalls when I also made the transition. Some of the things that came up for me was the feeling and actually having to deal with the emotion of realizing that it was time for me to transition. So there were some mistakes that I made in that period, not really being aware of the emotions and dealing with the emotions and just learning some techniques on how to move forward. There was also things that I had to learn in terms of just making sure I was setting myself up for success in my career, but also success in terms of, financial planning and financial outlooks. There was also some mistakes that were made in terms of initially choosing the right role for me and not understanding that there was a process that I had to go through to actually take some time to reflect and figure out what was the best next step for me. So, again, I want to just come on today and share with you 5 mistakes to avoid when thinking about exploring a new career. So the first mistake is not clarifying your goals or your motivations. So many times, we jump into a new career without a clear understanding of what's motivating us to actually make the jump. And then what are our goals? What are our short term goals? And what are our long term goals? So, one of the things that we want to make sure that we do is spend some time in self reflection. And I actually talk about this in one of the prior episodes on this podcast as well. Self reflection is really important because you want to make sure that you take time to reflect on the why. Why do you want to leave your current situation? What's driving you to do this? What's driving you out? Is it burnout? Right. And we have to be very clear about that and have an assessment or someone who can, help us to decide and figure out if it's actually burnout that's moving us in this direction. And again, the Maslow burnout survey can help you initially just sort of figure out where you are on that spectrum. Is it a desire for better work life balance? So maybe you're not burnt out, but maybe you recognize that there are some priorities in your life that have not actually put in the forefront. There have been some things that you have neglected, maybe because of your current work schedule. So, is it a desire for better work life balance? Or is it just a passion for doing something different? A lot of times our passions change along our career journeys, along the different stages of our lives, and also along the different stages of our careers. So maybe your passion is different now. Maybe there's something out there that's pulling at you that you want to do and you want to make an impact in the world based on that newfound passion. So, self assessment and self reflection is really important in order to avoid the mistake of not clarifying your goals and what's motivating you. The other thing is to identify what you hope to achieve with this career change. So, what is it that you're looking for, right? What is this career change going to bring to you? And is that going to be enough to sustain you? So it's important to write down again what your short term goals are and what your long term goals are. And is this next career change that you are thinking about going to satisfy those goals? We talked previously in previous episodes about creating a vision board. That's just a way, obviously, to visualize your new career path. You can use any sort of visual aid that will help you in that as well, so that you can just stay focused on your objectives. I have in my office actually a whiteboard. And on that whiteboard, I write down, projects that I have currently, projects that I have coming up, things that I'd like to do in the future. So that it's there, I can see it. I have a visual eye in terms of what's next for me. So it keeps me focused. So that's the first mistake. Again, not clarifying your goals or your motivations. The second mistake is really not understanding the financial implications. So basically, not taking into account or ignoring planning out the future in terms of what that means for you financially. So transitioning to a new career can have financial implications, right? So maybe the career that you're thinking about is not meeting the same salary requirements that you have now. Or maybe that new career is going to require you to put out some additional funds up front. Or there may be a delay, right, in the revenue that may be coming in later on. So you don't want to ignore this. You want to make sure that you keep that as part of your transition plan. So make sure that you are evaluating your current financial situation and can you afford maybe to make less in order to have that better work-life balance? Or what would you need to do differently in order for you to maintain where you are if that's important for you right now? So look at your current financial situation, look at obviously, your current salary, your savings, any expenses, obviously debts that you have. So you can definitely budget and make sure that you're not ignoring the financial implications of a transition. Also, when you're thinking about transitioning, again, that's why it's important to have short term goals, long term goals, and to have a plan. Make sure that you're building up, for people always say build up for a rainy day, right? So make sure that you're building a buffer in order for you to be able to make the transition successfully. So if you have to start saving a little bit more now, putting some monies aside so that as you make that transition, you don't have to take a financial hit. And then obviously consult with someone who is an expert, in the field of finance. So maybe you have a financial advisor, or if you don't, think about maybe getting a financial advisor to help you, to keep you on track, to ensure that you can sustain the lifestyle that you want to have when transitioning. And I can tell you that my financial advisor would not replace them at all. So important in terms of keeping you on track for your goals. So that's the second mistake, is ignoring financial planning. The third mistake that we want to make sure that we avoid when exploring a career transition or reinvention is not leveraging or not using your network. I think, especially for me early on, I really underestimated the power of having a network, right? And utilizing the people who I had built relationships with over time. So many of us, we work sometimes in silo. So we work in our private offices and it's just us and our clinic and our staff. Even sometimes when we're working in a hospital situation, we're just kind of working with our colleagues that are right there in front of us. And we really underestimate the power of building a professional network, even outside of our current practice or current organization where we work. And that's really important when you begin to think about exploring career options, right? Because you want to have people who you can reach out to ask questions, maybe to help you to get into a new situation or a new organization, to be able to give you advice, to be able to, again, just kind of help you to develop that roadmap and make it a little easier for you. So we want to make sure that we continue to reach out to colleagues, reach out to our mentors, reach out to any connections that you may have, in your industry or the industry that you'd like to explore. Make sure that you also stay relevant and that you continue to join professional organizations and professional groups in your area of interest, because there you will meet a ton of people who, are like-minded and share the same vision that you do and the same goals. So it becomes important to stay within those groups. And then you can also learn a lot, and you can also enhance your professional development by staying in these associations and groups. And then use, social media. I love LinkedIn as a format for connecting with professionals in the field. So make sure that you're visible. You don't have to be on social media every day, obviously, but make sure that you're there so that people will have you top of mind when they're thinking about, looking for filling roles. So that's the third mistake. Again, it's not utilizing your network and not basically building your network. The fourth mistake to avoid is underestimating the need time for us to skills. And I know for physicians, that's sometimes difficult because we've put in so much time in education, in studying and going to school. We spend half our lives in school. So a lot of times we don't think about the need, to develop a new skill. But sometimes that is necessary, depending on where you want to go, depending on what industry you want to get into, and depending on what role you're looking for, right? So a new career may require a new set of skills and some additional knowledge. So as you're beginning to explore this new career path or maybe this new industry, take a look at the job descriptions. What are they asking for? What are the skills that they are looking for? What is the knowledge that they're looking for? And see if you have those current skills or if you may need to learn something new. So evaluate your current skill set. And if you do need to have an additional skill, enroll in a course, take a workshop, get a certification so that you can acquire the necessary skills to make sure that you are, again, top of mind. I know for me, when I was thinking about going into coaching years ago, I knew that I had the skill set to become a coach. I think as physicians, we just have that skill set innate in us, right? Those interviewing techniques and some of the other intuition skills that we have. But it became necessary to actually learn the craft. So I went back and I got my certification in coaching, and I'm continuing to increase and enhance that certification so that I can be the best coach for my clients. Also, you can find a mentor who can, provide guidance and support to help you build your skills as well. So that's the fourth mistake, is not realizing the need or underestimating the need for new skills. The fifth mistake that we often sometimes run into, or the fifth mistake that we want to avoid when exploring a new career, is not being mindful of what that new career path looks like in terms of work-life balance, right? So transitioning sometimes to a new career in and of itself can be stressful. We talked about all the emotions that go in with that. We talk about sometimes having to face fears, having to take on new challenges, learn new skills. It can also impact your work life balance if it's not managed properly, right? So think about, you trying to work in your current situation full time, you're exploring a new career, you may be taking a class or a course or a certification. All of this can sometimes be stressful and it can impact your work life balance. So we want to make sure that we are mindful of that and that we are maintaining a healthy work life balance during the transition, that we're not putting too much on ourselves, right? That we're taking it step by step, that we are still prioritizing self care and time with family and also time for ourselves to do the things that we love. Because what sense does it make to leave one profession because of burnout and then just move yourself into another one and you're still burnt out, right? So think about what that looks like for you. Establish boundaries between, work and your personal life, and make sure again that you're just utilizing some good time management techniques so that you're staying organized and not feeling overwhelmed during this transition, right? And remember that it is a marathon and not a sprint. There are steps that you're going to have to take and steps that you will go through during this career transition. And it doesn't all have to be done in a day. So, again, these are the 5 mistakes to avoid when exploring a career reinvention. We talked about making sure that you are clarifying your goals and motivations, that you are not ignoring financial planning, that you are looking at your network and you're not avoiding doing that you are also understanding that there may be a need for a new skill. And then last, that you are thinking about and not overlooking the importance of work-life balance. So I hope that this information was helpful. I hope that it helps you as you're starting to think about your own career reinvention, own career transition, I want to invite you to share your thoughts about this. Share your own experience, about career reinvention. If you find that this episode was helpful, share it with others. If you have colleagues who are, thinking about exploring a new career or moving into leadership or whatever that new career path looks like, then share this episode with them as well. And I look forward to sharing more with you as we are on this journey, right, to discovering the next best career role, again, whether that's in leadership or somewhere else. And I hope that you will come back and listen to future episodes as well. So I am your host, Dr. Lisa, again. I look forward again to being able to support you on this career journey. And I will see you and hear from you, hopefully, in the next episode. Take care. Are you having difficulty landing your next best leadership role? Instead of remaining on the hamster wheel of decision making, where you are missing the opportunity to explore what is available to you, here's what you can do instead. You can take the time to reconnect with your purpose. You can look at your current skill level and see what strengths you possess. You can also begin to look within your current organization and see how you can leverage your experience, relationships, and skills to solve a problem. Wouldn't it be great to have a role that you designed that fits you and aligns with your passion? Are you ready to hop off the hamster wheel? It's time for you to stand out as the true leader that you are. I specialize in helping physicians and healthcare professionals discover their purpose, get clear on their career goals, and prepare for their next best leadership role. This is why I am offering for a limited time my career reinvention audit session designed to provide you with a 30-day roadmap for reinventing your career and thriving as a leader. Just go to the link in the show notes to sign up today.
If you enjoyed podcasts like this, you should check out our other shows on Health Podcast Network. For example, Hopeful Hints, hosted by Dr. Tara, guides and supports those on the often challenging and isolating journey of women's health concerns and infertility. There's a particularly powerful episode that you should check out called All Things Endometriosis, which dives deep into understanding the condition to help the many women who suffer from endometriosis and have no idea they have it, and healthcare providers who are uneducated about it, making the diagnosis process so difficult. Check out Hopeful Hints on your favorite podcast platform or visit healthpodcastnetwork.com.